Ready?
Okay. Oh, man. I've
Phil, where have
forgotten
you
everything.
been for
I know.
weeks? This is going to be a great one. This is a recap of my New York, but I want to hear some of my music because I miss that music, man.
Oh,
my music,
yeah.
my podcast music.
It's like being home.
It is so good to be home. So good.
Is it 10 days over there?
It was over a week, not 10 days. But it's been a while since we sat down here.
It seemed like a long while.
Studio 140.
Studio 140, yes.
Oh, my God. Welcome me back, dude.
Welcome back. When did you get back?
I got back on Tuesday. Today's Thursday. We're going to probably push this bad boy out on Monday, the start of my New York week.
I was looking for more of like yesterday or the day before or
right, whatever.
Where were you?
Oh God. Do you remember we did an episode like last summer about I Love New York?
Yeah.
Today's going to be all about how New York loves me back.
Really?
Seriously. I went to New York. I went to go to a podcast summit called Podcast Row.
Podcast Row.
That was the initial reason why I booked the ticket. And then I thought, while I'm there, I'm going to book a bunch of like podcast episodes for Not Gonna Lie.
Yeah, just meet some people, talk, record it.
So I reached out and I did some cold calls, but I also got a few, people through other connections. And I booked up the week. In fact, I overbooked it and I ended up having to scale back on a couple of interviews. It worked out. Some people had to reschedule anyway. So it was flat out for days and days and days. And I, literally by 9 p.m. every night.
Yeah. 9 p.m. this time or that time?
In New York.
In New York.
I didn't think I could keep my eyes open any longer. It was that
Working
intense. Yeah, the summit was 2 days, and that was 8 a.m. till 8:30 or 9 p.m. And then the other days, I just was kind of, booking in stuff. And I was trying to see a little bit of the city too, and
you must
hang out with my friend KK.
Had a little fun too, right?
I mean, I did have a great time the whole time. I didn't go out partying.
Oh, good. So it was work fun.
Actually, I never thought that work could be so much fun.
So you were flowing.
I was flowing, and I met some amazing people. Got some really good context. Let me just tell you about.
Tell me about what you're going to tell me.
I'm going to tell you about. So the summit, the Podcast Row Summit, was at Stand Up New York, which is a comedy club on the Upper West Side in Manhattan.
Okay. I haven't been, unfortunately.
It's super famous.
Okay.
Like there's
it sounds familiar.
all of the real real big comedians and others as well. But like, think Robin Williams and Jerry Seinfeld and like even way beyond.
Right.
So those people have been there. And it was just an incredible event. The first day was all workshops. Basically the idea was like taking women entrepreneurs and helping them craft their story to put out their message on podcasts and connect us with podcasters. The second
sounds
day
like a pretty
was
good fit.
like, yeah, I know. The second day was interviews. So I was being interviewed. All of the attendees, not all of the attendees, a few of the attendees were being interviewed. And that was great. So I got a really good mix of me interviewing people.
Well, let's back up a sec because I have some inside information on this. But so was this just open to anybody or any Joe Schmo walking down the street?
No, there was an application process and then an interview process and all of that. So I think, I was fortunate to get in. I was fortunate to be one of, I don't remember how many who were being interviewed. So I was interviewed on 5 different podcasts, and the interviewers were people who have podcasts that are around entrepreneurship and that type of thing.
Oh, nice. Okay, go ahead.
And women
I just wanted to get that
focus.
Because I know you worked hard to get in there. So
yeah, it was cool. And thanks to a couple of sponsors, the sponsors that we have for Studio 140, right? So Blonde Medicine and Audio Ephemera, I was able to make that trip happen. So thanks to Andy and Dominic, because without you, I'd be nothing.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
But there some crazy ass shit happened.
Oh, really? Crazy ass shit. Well, it's New York. Shit. I think I believe, the city that never sleeps, right?
Yes. And the city that if you know somebody who's connected to everybody, you get anything and everything you ever wanted.
Oh.
And like
dreams come true.
More than Vegas, I think.
Well, that's creepy.
But I'm going to do something funny here because do you remember many moons ago?
No.
I think it might have even been the very first podcast that we did with Buka.
Okay.
And we were talking about how funny I am. And more specifically, how Jerry Seinfeld
I don't
would
remember
think about how funny
I don't remember talking about how funny you are.
I was talking about how funny I am. But
no,
more specifically,
I
was like, remember I said, Jerry Seinfeld will think I'm funny. And then we followed up with another episode.
There was a whole debate.
And I was like, okay, maybe Jerry Seinfeld won't think I'm funny. But first of all, I have to put a clarification there because I realized this week that I never made that clarification. I never suggested that Jerry Seinfeld would think I'm a funny stand-up comic. That is not even close. Like I would never try to be a stand-up.
Like a two-headed snake funny.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
No, that's weird funny. No, funny. No, like
he would never think I'm a stand-up comedian.
Like a clever and engaging person to talk to.
I am somebody who's sarcastic.
Could we say cocktail party funny kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
I'm sarcastic. I've got a sense of humor.
Yeah, you're there.
You know, and the people who know me think I'm funny. So whatever.
Well, you think you're funny too.
I do think I'm funny, but sometimes I think I'm more funny than others. So anyway, I digress. I met somebody, the owner of Stand Up New York, who is very well connected.
Okay.
And I recorded him. He said something. And I'm like, wait a minute, stop right there. I want to record you saying this. I'm going to play this. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Listen to this.
Yeah, let it rip.
Yes, tell everybody who you think would think I'm funny.
So, first of all, I think you're really funny.
Oh.
And I know a lot of comics, and I think a bunch would think you're funny. Like Seinfeld, he comes here every few months. I think if he met you, he would think you're funny.
I told you. I knew it.
Yep, totally. He's totally like that. Like, he knows talent. And, no, he's very, like, when he meets someone or he meets an upcoming comic.
There's some hysterical woman in the background.
He wants to be on my podcast.
He can recognize talent, and he encourages people to, like, get out there and be funny. So I think I really like you.
All right, thank you.
You know, that would be almost admissible in a court of law.
I'm telling you what. I think Jerry would think I'm funny. So this guy, his name is Donnie, and he's freaking amazing. Actually knows Jerry. He really does. Jerry lives in the neighborhood, actually. Quite honestly, I was talking to Donnie, and I was telling him this story, and he's like, yeah, Jerry won't think you're funny. And
wait,
I'm like,
what?
And I kept badgering him, and he finally goes, do you want me to just say that he'll think you're funny so you can stop asking me? And I was like, yes, please. And then I was like, but wait, let me record it. So full disclosure, he also believes that Jerry won't think I'm funny. But I'm just here to tell you that before I die, at some point, I'm going to meet Jerry Seinfeld, and I'm going to prove to everybody that I'm funny.
I don't know. I
can't even say it with a straight face.
I know.
Anyway, so
I don't know that I'd care if he thought it was funny or not.
Me neither,
it would be
except for that you
right?
guys have been telling me that he wouldn't. So now it's just a thing for me. Anyway, so that was that. But here's something interesting.
Wait a minute. So what night was that? And where were you? So were you in the club?
Yes, this was after the event was over. There was a comedy show that night, so we stayed. So this was between the event and the comedy show, which, by the way, I was sitting in the splash zone for the comics, basically, which means you're in the front and center and you're the person that they're going to pick on.
Oh, cool.
There were 5 different comedians,
all super
all
easy
women,
to pick on.
And I was wearing a sleeveless blouse, so my tattoos are hanging out. It's New York. It's like 20 degrees outside. And they had a field day with me, and they asked me everything. But
where are you from? And
where am I from?
Right.
Why am I wearing that kind of shirt? What's going on with the tattoos? Do I have a boyfriend? Do I have children? If I have a boyfriend, then they dug deeper into that. So I was literally like chum for the
man. You should get royalties or something.
I know, and it was fun. I played back, but it was a good time. That was the first day of the event, and kind of after the event was over. But here's something interesting that happened. So that first day, I introduced myself to Donnie, and I was telling him about the podcasting and all of this stuff. And, I asked him if I could go see their recording studio, because above the club, they have their own recording studio, and there's artists and such. He has a podcast. James Altucher has a podcast that, so they do some recording in there.
Okay.
And I was geeking out on it. And I love our studio here.
Right. 140 is nice.
And we have a beautiful lounge area that I've used. And sometimes I pretend that it's an area where people would come and listen to us, like as if we're on live.
Okay.
Right. But in their studio, they actually have 3 rows of stadium seats, like 5 across. About 15 people can sit in there and watch.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's mostly because also they have famous comedians that come on their podcast. So they have a following. But so I was in there and I was like, someday I'm going to come back here and I'm going to record. And then lo and behold, 2 days later, I went in there and I recorded an episode. So one of the episodes that's going to come out this week was recorded at the Stand Up New York Labs.
No way.
That's like a bucket list item I just checked off.
I didn't even know that was on the list.
I didn't either.
That's awesome.
Until I saw it and I'm like, oh yes, I'm coming back here.
And it's someday, super legit. Did you have 15 people in there?
I did not.
You could, next time, you air it, maybe you could get 15 in there.
Well, yeah.
There's 3 rows.
Seriously. I might even fly 15 people that I know out there just so they can sit in this. But no, actually with all the contacts I made, I know 15 people in New York City who I could just say, come meet me here at 5:00. And no, I was so grateful. The generosity of the people that I met was just over and above. Everybody asking, what could they do to help me? And of each other as well. It wasn't just me,
right.
But the whole idea was that we were meeting connections and that we were kind of like, I've got 10-ish people who now I need to schedule, and I'm not going to lie, because we connected and we're just supporting each other. So it was really great. And then
I just to put it clear in my mind. So what part of New York are you in?
Manhattan.
Upper West Side of Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I stayed down in Brooklyn with Catherine, my friend Catherine, who is on several of the episodes that I recorded. Actually, not several. I did one with her.
Remember, is it super hipster around there?
Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brooklyn's pretty cool. Brooklyn's really cool. Reminds me of like the Oakland to San Francisco.
Nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And it was where she lives in a really great area in Brooklyn where it's really well connected with the transit system. So it was literally just one train ride up to the Upper West Side in Manhattan. A 5-minute walk from the subway, and I was there. So it was super cool. And so I did a lot of recording. I had some episodes that are like interviews one-on-one with guests. But I also took the equipment out.
You took the mobile kit, right?
Yeah. And I wandered around the streets, and sometimes I would set up in a bar, and Catherine was with me. So we would just like screw off on the podcast, on like recording it. So those I'll probably put like little clips out here and there. I don't know that I'll record the whole thing because you probably don't want to like hear my tasting notes on the Manhattans. Oh my God. By the way, I'm going to give a little local plug here.
Oh, okay.
And at some point we're going to get
that's good.
Lorraine and Mike Barber on our podcast.
Lorraine and Mike Barber.
From Barber Cellars and Barber.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
So you know that I've like all of a sudden had this love affair with Manhattans, the drink.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I went, so in every bar I went to in New York, which wasn't that many, but I went to like old pubs all the way to like super bougie.
Is that a thing? Is that acceptable to get a Manhattan in Manhattan?
Yeah.
Really?
Why wouldn't it be?
No, it seems like a little obvious.
No, it's not.
It's not?
And obviously people don't order Manhattans because they're not very good either.
Well, it's Mom used to drink Manhattans.
I went to some of this one bar, and I wish I would have wrote down the name of it. It was so beautiful.
Oh.
So bougie. I mean, it was phenomenal. It was so gorgeous. And they had a crazy, crazy list of cocktails and spirits. And I asked for Manhattan, and I kind of told them how I like it based on like what Barbara Lee makes over here in Petaluma, downtown Petaluma.
Yeah.
Not one of those drinks that I ordered was even remotely as good as the one that I get right around the corner here.
Really?
So shout out to Barbara Lee. Like best Manhattan.
It's probably the ingredients
on the
too.
earth. It is for sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think part of I had to kind of be specific about how I wanted them to make it. Also,
this is kind of a Danny expertise too, you know.
Yes, Danny for sure. But I was shocked. I was like, I